Have you ever thought about cooking a full-on breakfast on your kettle? Well, now you can. And we're doing it today on the SNS MasterKettle. It's one of my favorite grills to cook on, and I'm gonna show you why in just a second. We're gonna build a full-on breakfast station to make a delicious breakfast burrito. Let's fire it up. All right, let's get this cook going. I'm cooking with the Slow and Sear MasterKettle, and I'm gonna start by lighting a full chimney of charcoal. I'm using Kingsford Professional, and once it's ashed over, I'll dump it into the kettle. I'm also going to be spreading it around into a more circular shape. That circular setup helps heat up the entire cooking surface evenly. But I'm going to leave a cool zone by leaving a gap in here. This is where I'm going to place a pan. I'm going to need this when I clean the surface. After that, I toss in a few unlit briquettes over the top, which is going to help extend the heat a bit longer as the cook goes on. Once the charcoal's in place, it's time to drop in the plancha insert. The hole in the handle will be right above the pan. Now this plancha is what turns your kettle into a flat top griddle, and that's where it's going to bring everything together nicely today. Let that plancha preheat for a good 10 to 15 minutes. I'm looking for a surface temperature between 350 and 400 degrees. Let's bring in my ingredients. A list of all the ingredients you're going to need is down in the description. Once the plancha is preheated, let's drop in some oil and the potatoes. I'm using some gold potatoes diced into small cubes. You want to toss them down into a single layer, and then you'll want to add a bit more oil on top. And let them sit so they can build up that crisp. Although the chorizo is going to bring plenty of flavor, I still like to season all my ingredients. I'm going with a little salt and pepper here. Next, let's give it a stir. They're starting to get some good color here. After about 5 to 6 minutes, let's flip and stir the potatoes occasionally until they're golden brown all around. And once the potatoes are about 90% there, push them to the side. Now for the chorizo, I picked this up from my local Mexican market. I highly recommend you do the same because those spots usually carry way better quality chorizo than the standard grocery stuff. The casing has been removed, and I'm going to break it up and let it render down. The fat is going to coat the potatoes, and it's going to bring everything together. If you get a little char on the chorizo, well, that's even better. But man, this smells amazing. The chorizo is cooked through, and so are the potatoes. Let's marry these together. Let's combine both the potatoes and the chorizo. Now this cook really hits home because I grew up eating breakfast this way. Some chorizo, some eggs, some potatoes, and it smelled absolutely delicious in the kitchen. And as you can guess, that was all on the stovetop. But now we're taking it outside, and I'm gonna be honest with you, it's on a whole different level. But a quick shout out to Kevin over at Man Kitchen Recipes because he just made a similar video. And we were chatting it up over in his comment section, and he grew up on them too. It must be a Southern California thing or something. So after this video, make sure to check out his. Let's also clean up our plancha a bit. And I'm gonna dump these bits over to our handle area. You know, that's where our tray is. Now, in a clean zone on the plancha, add a little oil and drop in the peppers and onions. I'm using a mix of red bell peppers and some spicy serranos. Let's add salt and pepper. Cook these down for a few minutes, just enough to soften them up a bit. If you get a char, even better. Since the potatoes and chorizo are pretty much done, I'll move them over to the cool zone area to prevent any overcooking. Oh yeah, I'm really starting to feel bad for the neighbors now. They're having to smell this delicious aroma. Although this cook is going great, I can't help but bring up a couple of disadvantages. The main disadvantage is there's no way you could turn down and turn up the heat on this thing. It all goes according to how much charcoal you have in there. But other than that, this is a great technique. Our ingredients are done, so let's remove the onions and peppers. Followed by our delicious potatoes and chorizo. Again, let's keep our cooking space clean and scrape off any of the cooked bits into our clean area. All right, it's burrito time. Warm up a big flour tortilla. The bigger, the better, especially if you're hungry. Next, let's hit that last clean space with a little oil for the eggs. I'm using 2 eggs here. Add some salt and pepper. And I'm gonna mix them right here on the plancha. They're not gonna take very long. Just a quick mix and then remove. Let's add our egg to our giant tortilla. Layer in the potatoes and chorizo. Then add a generous scoop of those peppers and onions. You can add cheese or hot sauce if you want, but honestly, the flavor is already dialed in. But you know what? I'm gonna add some green salsa to mine because you know I am a big fan of some heat. Wrap it up, and you got yourself a proper breakfast burrito cooked entirely on the kettle. How cool is that? Now for a little bit of boring stuff, let's clean it up. Clean up is super simple though. First, let's get that egg out of the way and scrape off any other bits that might have stayed. You can also put a little bit of water and let it steam. This is gonna help you get off any of the crud that's a little harder to get off. And lastly, while it's still hot, drop in some oil and give it a nice wipe with some paper towels. This is gonna leave it with a nice shiny finish, and it's gonna be ready for next time. Okay, let's slice into our burrito and cut in half. Amazing. Now you could totally make this inside, but if you don't have a griddle or you don't have enough cooking space indoors, this is a killer way to make a full-on Sunday breakfast. And if you like these types of cooks on the plancha, make sure you stand at the end of the video. I got a good link for you. But right now, let's eat. Some chorizo, some eggs, some peppers. This is really, really good. Nice little spicy green salsa. What more can you ask for? Take a big old bite out of this. Okay, so this burrito is spicy and it's very, very savory, very, very hearty. This is how you want to wake up in the morning and eat one of these breakfast burritos. I grew up eating them this way. Absolutely delicious. Make it very easy. You don't need a griddle. You got a kettle, you got the plancha accessory. You could make this. You could make a bunch of other stuff, but this is the first thing I would make. Enjoy. Mm-hmm.